It is 7:05, and I'll call to order the March 10th, 2021 meeting of the Ware Conservation Commission. This is a Zoom meeting, and we are being recorded. We do have one guest tonight, and mercifully, it looks like we have a fairly short agenda, depending on what other items we have that maybe didn't make it to the agenda. So welcome, Haley. Our usual order of doing things is if we have a guest, we move you right up to the front of the line, and then we launch into the rest of our agenda. So if you would unmute yourself and talk about the item that brings you to us tonight.
Sure. Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Haley Nace. I am the Stewardship Coordinator for the Piscataqua Land Conservancy. And I just wanted to kind of talk about the Farron Pond property primarily tonight. As you know, PLC has a property that abuts it along the northern part of the pond, and then the town owns the southern part of the pond. So our trails, the trail around the pond is partially PLC, partially town. And I was out there about a month ago, and the section of the trail that is on the, the western side of the pond, the southwest side of the pond, had a bunch of blowdowns on it, and just made it kind of impassable. And in the winter, at least with the snow, I wasn't able to find my way back to the trail without my GPS. So as I was working on updating PLC's trail maps for our website, I thought it was a good opportunity to potentially do some kind of joint effort out there to make the trails more usable.
And remind me again, the PLC has trails along the west side, or some of those on town conservation land also?
The blowdowns specifically were on the town property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's coming around that west side. If you tried to loop the pond, there were a number of obstructions along the trail. And
yeah, there's like a bridge that kind of goes down the ravine that you can cross to get there. And I found that, but that was also blocked with a tree. And there was just, there's the recent logging as well. So I think it's just a combination of blowdowns, recent logging, and then, a couple of trail markers that you couldn't see. And then all of a sudden it wasn't where you thought you were. So that was mainly on the town property, but then also between the PLC trails and the town trails, they're marked in different colors, which was kind of confusing unless you knew why it was. But the general population, I would assume, doesn't know that one section is owned by the town and one is owned by PLC.
Right. And just for the record, the waters are owned by neither the town nor the PLC?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It is a great pond.
Yes.
In more ways than one, but officially it counts as state waters, right?
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the trail that goes around it. And then also PLC was looking to update the trail guide as well, as we're trying to update some of our trail stuff. And that hadn't been updated, I think, since 2013. And just some of that stuff isn't there. And then all of the markers are kind of scattered.
Now, is that 2013 on PLC side or on the town side?
I believe the town side. I believe it was a Boy Scout that updated it.
It's already been 7 years, almost 8 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah. So
what would it, in your estimation, what would it take to effort wise to clear the trail, update the trail, dare I say, bring it up to standard, whatever that might be.
Mhm. I think honestly, it just needs someone with a chainsaw and a couple people to move some logs and stuff for the town side on that trail, and then just updating the markers for both the trail guide and the trail, which wouldn't take a huge amount of effort. And then, you know, a couple people to brush in a couple areas that are, you know, like illegal side trails and stuff like that.
Right.
But other than that, it's not like a ton of work. The other option is just discontinuing that side trail and just looping it all the way back around to the pond. But that would be something that you guys would decide because that's on town property.
As far as the condition of the trail, did you see any, and I haven't been up actually on that west side at all, but is the condition of the trail decent enough that it would be a enjoyable place for folks to know and follow if it were better better marked?
I think so. It has it's a cool area, but I mean, I don't know how much use it's getting in general either. I was out there in the winter, so everything was covered, but there wasn't any tracks
Right.
out. There was a track a little out and back towards where there's the recent logging, and then back to the pond, but that was about it.
Any sign of other aspects of the land that need attention?
I mean,
Other
there's
than, I mean, we know the ATVs are a perennial problem out there, but you know, most years it doesn't raise to the level of substantial degradation, more incidental, but you know, sometimes it does. We see evidence of a lot of bogging some years.
yeah, I mean, I was out there in the winter, so
Right.
I couldn't tell you for that. I mean, there's the little campsite around the pond, you know, always needs a little bit of cleanup, I guess, both sides, the PLC side and the town side. But at least when I was out there about a month ago, it was snow covered, so hard to tell.
Yeah. So should we characterize this as a conversation tonight, or is there a request here? Before I bring in other commissioners to talk about it, I guess the short question is there a request that the PLC would ask us to assist other than, as you mentioned, the trail clearing on town property?
I think it's more of a conversation and a potential like partnership for a work effort in a sense. And I just also wanted to let you guys know that the trail was, you know, hard to find.
Appreciate that. How about other commissioners? We have thoughts on or knowledge of fair and pond environs?
I've talked to a couple people through the budget process this year, and more people are asking why we don't have maps. The trails aren't easily able to be followed. And there's a group of people in town that are looking to try and figure out how they can use the money when we log off land to put into the town coffers. So it might behoove us to do something more proactive to get a trail up and running and looking good for townspeople to use, to show that we're listening a little bit.
That's important to consider. Thank you, Lori.
Andy, who normally would go out and take care of that? Do we hire someone, or do we just go do it, get a group together and do it ourselves?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. There is no normal. That's the problem. That's probably why it's obstructed. We've had, I think the last time that we had any of that work, it was some of the Boy Scout leaders with some of the older scouts that did some trail maintenance over there. And yeah, we're on to, probably almost 8 years on that now.
I walked that
so
trail
we
about
don't-
8 years ago. It was kind of nice, but I haven't been there since.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
so,
go ahead, Steve.
yeah, I mean, to kind of run through like actually a bunch of issues. As far as the greater parcel out there, we do have a problem with intrusion up at the log landing that we had sealed off. So Jeremy was looking into that, and I think he was talking to Benji, or maybe gonna talk to Benji about putting a few more rocks up around the entrance to the log landing that was sealed off. So that's a little further up, but it kind of relates back. And the I'm super familiar with the whole area, and do some monitoring up there. So we were losing the trail before the logging job, and the logging job just made it that much harder to find the trail. Now, if you remember, that trail has those little tin yellow trail markers, which is kind of non-standard. I mean, most of the trails around New Hampshire are tree marking paint on a kind of a rectangle. So that would be a suggestion to get back to that if we do go out there and mark the trails. The as far as hiring that out, or the scouts, the project the scout did, those trail markers didn't last. So I think we talked about this before, and I guess I'll kind of say it again. I mean, now that everybody's got a cell phone, it's really more ideal to have a very small placard with a QR code that goes back to a web page that has whatever you're trying to interpret. Assuming that we have coverage out there, and I can't really recall if we do or not. But and then I think to Ray's point, we've had the volunteers, and then before that, no one. I think, in the distant past, Gordon Russell wasn't real happy because the trail wasn't maintained, but there is no mechanism to really maintain trails. And then if you go back to the trail plan that we did, the cost to develop and maintain a trail is pretty extreme. I mean, so it's something that you almost have to get familiar with to think if that's what we want to do. And that's okay. Just you need to look at it and understand it. I just don't see this group being very viable for very long as far as trail maintenance goes.
No, to me, time is money, and where I don't have time, unfortunately, I would lean towards expending some modest funds to have the work responsibly done.
So Andy, Bill is joined. He's sitting next to me because we couldn't get his computer to work, but it's unmuted. He was going to say something.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I think just a couple of years ago, Jeremy sent a guy in on Poor Farm for very short money. He went in with a chainsaw, and as I recall, it was only $20 an hour, or not much more than that. It was very inexpensive. And I don't know if that's still an option or not.
It sounds pretty favorable to me. Do you recall anything on that one, Steve?
Yeah, that was when the logging job went through there. He had to go back through and open up the trail. So I think in this case, if we took the Farron Pond trail map and gave that to Jeremy, and like I said, I would suggest going back through and using tree marking paint with a rectangle painted on the trees, not nailing on little aluminum things there. So, we can ask them for a quote on whatever you guys want. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Bill. I would just ask with, PLC, maybe we ought to try to get a sort of unified approach to marking the trail.
Go right ahead, Haley.
Cool. PLC uses plastic boundary tags, or not boundary tags, sorry, trail marking tags. And we found those pretty effective because they're easy to spot as well. They're good contrast to the tree. and easy to install as well. So that's what we've been using on our trails. And then additionally for the like nature walks or guides, we've just been able to put the number of the guide per se on those plastic markings, and then people can, use their phone with a QR code and kind of pull it up as they go, instead of, I think the Boy Scout before had the actual description of the nature trail feature at the location, which just is more things to maintain.
Right, right. Haley, could you, at some point in the next month or so, pass along some pictures of what you use? Don't have to be in town here, but wherever you might be, that's sort of the PLC standard, so we can consider whether that is something that we can mimic if we want to.
Yeah. And I think the PLC trail at Farron Pond, once you cross onto our property, is marked with the plastic markers. But they're blue plastic markers, and I think the town's is yellow, which, I mean, changing up the color isn't a huge deal.
Yeah, it's certainly not something that I feel like we've dug into and established a standard for the town. So I guess I've seen a number of different things. The most recent and fairly infrequent amount hiking is what the state does up and around Kearsarge, which includes paint on rocks when the trees are not very prominent. And I don't know, Steve, you seem to have some thoughts on that. Is there a convention, or should we look into establishing a convention for marking a trail on our properties?
Well, I mean, I think different organizations have a different convention. Like the AT, I believe, is white marking. I think most of the Forest Service trails are a yellow rectangle or blue or yellow. I forget which one. And then that trail that goes through over by Packman Adnock, that one's like more of a triangle, but it's all paint. I think our boundary markers, we actually switched from plastic to those, I think they're aluminum. I would like to get away from just using plastic, because eventually going to fall off trees and be in the woods for the next 2,000 years.
Yep.
I think the aluminum wasn't that much more expensive. I think that's what Jeremy got us. So, if we do go back to that route, we can have him look at that, make some recommendations, and just get with Haley.
Right. I think that sounds like a responsible way to go about it. Utilizes our resources as they may be available. What do you think, Michael? Any thoughts on the issue?
Yeah, I was out there not too long ago, and I lost my way as well. There's a lot of downed trees out there. And then the stuff that the Boy Scouts put up, the descriptions that you can read about on the website, they're all pretty beat up. Yeah, they should just be taken out of there. And Lori, just so you know, there is a map on the town website of Farron Pond if you want to direct people to the town website.
Yeah, if anywhere we can, if there's a spot that we can relatively easily get up to speed on that, Farron would probably be it. And for good reason. It's a fantastic sort of capstone of the town conservation system, if there is such a thing.
Andy,
Yes,
I
Lori,
think-
go right ahead.
I think if we're going to start doing things like this and go forward with it, I do understand that things are on the town website. I don't find that people are exactly dancing on rooftops to go on the town website and follow everything on their phone, even though phones are very prevalent. What I'm hearing, and I'm getting it out of New Boston and here, they don't want to have to keep looking at their phones and wasting their batteries. They're wondering why we don't have something printed. Perhaps we could have something on a website that they could download at their home and take with them on a
Yeah,
piece of paper.
We have had printouts at Fair and Pond before, and they don't last forever. And you know, the boxes are subject to vandalism. It's
No, I'm not saying us have it sitting at Fair and Pond. What I'm saying is that, let's say I wanted to go do Fair and Pond, I could go onto a website, print it out at my home, and take that piece of paper and go wander around Fair
right.
and Pond.
I think Michael is just pointing out that you could do that now, except that the markers in the field are not well.
Okay,
They're not terribly helpful because we've had a trail that needs essentially reclamation.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I just updated a map that we could potentially put on the website as well for you guys. PLC just updated all of our trails. So we have,
we're actually, you know, really close to being able to, you know, put this thing into decent shape. Much more so than we would be with say the Eastman or something where we haven't had any officially designated trail with any guides or attempt at guiding marks in the woods.
Andy, can I try to share, just so Lori can, oh, I don't know if she can see this, but I mean, I can just try to show you guys the, you know, I've got the map right up here. So let me see if I can.
You want to try a share screen down there at the bottom?
Yeah, here you go. Can you see that okay? So that's,
I don't see anything yet, but oh,
there
we
it
go.
is.
yeah. So, I mean, this is, you know, the guide's on, it's on the site. Here's the map, has all the different features. So not real hard to bring this up to date. I don't know if you want to take it a step further. I personally would, and actually, you know, we can ask Jeremy how much to GPS the whole thing. So that way you can have an Avenza PDF map if you want to follow it on your phone.
I don't
Oh,
think
I
that'd be
think
very
that
much
would
these
be
days.
awesome.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have,
That's a
I
cool
have-
idea.
I have it GPSed if you would like the GPS track.
Do you have the town part GPS, Haley, or no?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, yeah. So we can get, I mean, we can even do that. We've got ArcGIS as well. Or do you have ArcGIS? So you can just create an Avenza PDF map, right? Okay, cool. So
So,
were you
Steve-
guys able to
Steve, would
take
you
that on?
just keep the discussion going for a second. I'm going to turn my camera off so I can toss a couple pieces of wood on the fire.
Okay. So Haley, if you guys can make an Avenza PDF map, then that's one less thing we've got to ask Jeremy to do.
Yeah, that was fine. I think I sent a map, the updated map that I had designating the trail that needed work, and then the trail map that we updated and put on our website doesn't
Okay.
have the trail that we needed work, just because we didn't want to mark or send people into an area where they wouldn't be able to find their way. So we just had it go straight around the Fair and Pond.
Okay.
But yeah, I can work on that because it would just, that's already in the system in a sense.
Okay. So for the commission members, I can contact Jeremy. Are we using the hourly for town forest maintenance to have him create a request for proposal and explore kind of really what needs to get done?
I'd be in favor of that.
I would too.
It sounds like that's really all that needs to be done. It sounds like the mapping is good. It's just a matter of clearing the trail so that people can use it. So that would be the right thing to do, is to get that done.
Okay, so just so we're all clear, I'm gonna go ahead and email him and just ask him for a proposal. Ask him to get in touch with Haley and then get that back to the commission members when he's done with it for consideration.
Did you want to do me?
That sounds good.
Okay,
You can if you want. This is Bill. I think that's good. Steve, if that GPS track could got to Naomi, we have a program in the Snowmobile Club that overlays on the town map that's very accurate. And I think for little or nothing, we could make a pretty nice map we could just do it and see what you think of it. But it's actually managed by the people that do the town tax maps. And our entire, the Snowmobile Club has got their entire trail system on it. So that it's very accurate with the landowners and exactly where it runs. And it's a nice detailed map. If you want to get it, that GPS track tour, we'll try and put that on, and then I can just send it to folks and see what you think.
yeah, Bill, we can do that, but what we're talking about here also is that, so both the Conservation Commission and PLC have a program called ArcGIS, which it's a database used for making maps. It's a database tool, and so we were able to export create a map with the track on it, with parcel lines, with the topo in the background, and you can actually use it on a free app called PDF Maps, and you can put that right on your phone. Doesn't require connectivity with the cell tower once it's loaded, or people can just print it like a regular PDF as well. So there's probably a few different ways we can do this, and definitely like to look at, I don't know if you have a website or something like where the map you're talking about would reside.
You know what, you'd have to ask Naomi all the technicals. I'm the most challenged technical person you've ever met, but it sounds very similar to what you got, Steve. And if you've got something that we can already use, that's the way to do it anyways.
Okay, we do. Yep.
Okay, thank you for carrying the conversation along. We have a conclusion to it at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if you might not have heard. We're just gonna go ahead and ask Jeremy to come up with to explore what needs to get done on the hourly town forest agreement, and then come up with a request for proposal, however this physically will get done. So just gonna ask him to figure that out and to get in touch with Haley and come back to us with a proposal.
Terrific. Sounds good. Anything else that we can help you with, Haley?
Nope, I'm all
There you
good.
go.
Thanks so much for, letting me join and having this conversation with me. Appreciate it.
I appreciate your interest in taking your time tonight to bring it to our attention. Really appreciate it.
All right, have a good night.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.
All right. Thank you guys for carrying on and weighing in on that one. Let's we do have going back to the agenda. We'll consider the February minutes next month. And we'll jump down to planning and zoning items. There was something that came in today from Kelly. So hopefully I can find that. There we go. Let me look at her email. We've got a request for review and comments on a site plan application and plans for 2 above-ground propane storage tanks at 55 B&B Lane. And these go to public hearing on the 25th of this month. It did, or have other folks had a chance to pull those items up for consideration tonight?
I'm just pulling them up.
Yeah. On the application, table of contents says we've got a design review application and checklist, an authorization, corporate information, a location map, and a butter notification list, and a site plan.
I don't have any of that.
I don't either.
All right. Michael, is that something that you have?
Yeah, I'm looking around. I can't find anything. Was it sent by email? Was it in the drive there?
Well, see, there I go. Let me, maybe.
It went to conservation. It was via email from Kelly today.
At 11:01 a.m. All right. Let's see what else.
I don't have anything in my email from Kelly.
Okay.
Andy, Bill got it today. Do you want me to forward it to others?
I'm just about to do that.
Okay. She didn't include me either, so don't feel bad. That's why I put none.
Let's see if that shows up.
Yeah, so it just came in from me.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll keep looking and talking. I haven't seen the size of these above ground liquid propane fuel storage tanks yet, and what I'm looking at, but we'll get there. This is for Energy North Inc. Or it's ENI 55 B&B Lane LLC. But
Yeah,
ENI.
that's Hafner's. That's where Putnam's is. Hafner's bought that. They're renovating the place.
I'm not very familiar with B&B Lane. We got a map there. It's down the end near the circle. Another map toward the end. And a site plan down the very bottom of it. Part of the application. Then we have additional site plans. This is going to be a challenging one to look at remotely.
Well, I'm very familiar with that site because we get our fuel there almost every day. It looks like they're gonna put those big propane tanks closer to the road. Right now, it's just open space. It's just a big open area. And they're gonna add these tanks.
Oh, so they do have diesel storage there now.
Oh yeah, huge. That's where Putnam's had all of their supplies over the years, and Hafner's bought them out earlier in the year. And they're renovating it because the place is starting to get run down. So Hafner's is going to renovate the entire place, but they also sell propane where Putnam's did not, and they're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
add propane tanks. But there's probably like 30 or 40,000 gallon storage tanks there already for diesel fuel on that site.
Is that all commercial or any retail side of it?
It's all commercial, but they have fuel pumps there where we have keys that we just
Yeah.
drive up 24/7.
Yeah.
And we put our key in the slot, we fuel up our equipment and then go. It's not manned by anybody.
Yeah. Uh, 11-foot diameter tanks.
Looks like they're 30,000 gallons a piece, 2 of them. So there'd be 60,000 gallons there of propane that they would feed off of.
Yeah. In general, from potential environmental impact, a spill from a propane tank doesn't contaminate aquifers. I'd be potentially more concerned there with what's already existing, I guess, in that regard to the groundwater quality and thinking what's in the tanks. Diesels can be problematic. Hopefully everything's up to snuff with their secondary containment and all. I think, was that area a gravel pit? So
It's a big industrial park. It's all level.
yeah.
The wetlands aren't really nearby.
They're big, but they're on the back, at least of the eastern, and this is one of the eastern lots.
Hey guys, the wetland is right on the edge of the cul-de-sac there. So it's not that far away. It's not near the parcel or on the parcel.
Are you seeing, is that from the overview maps or the site plan, Steve? Where are you seeing that?
Just right on Google Maps.
Yeah, yeah.
You can pick them out. There's a it's wet like in the middle of that cul-de-sac, and on the other side of it, there's a big wetlands complex.
Right.
So, I mean, it's, if a truck spills on the road, it's going in the wetland, but I don't know what the fate of propane is. But I don't think the lot itself doesn't look like it has any problems.
Right. Yeah. Propane's going to go up instead of down. Is this one of the places where we're in an aquifer district? Or is that the dotted line on the back of, trying to see what plan I'm looking at, back of the site plan. What does that dotted line across the back mean? Does anybody see the name to that called out anywhere?
No, it's not on the legend, as
Yeah,
far
that's
as I can
curious.
tell.
Well,
I'm confused whether it's the rural agricultural and industrial line, but that could be that other straight line. I'm not sure.
right, right. What else have we dealt with on B&B Lane? Is that where there's that essentially private transfer station? I think might be on one of those down there. I think there was like forest products, like mulch and chip products that were stored at one of them, maybe.
Yeah, Haynes is at the beginning. They have bark mulch, and John Brown has all their equipment down there. That's the abutting lot where they keep all their logs and where they had their little sawmill there. So it's all been graded and leveled out.
Yeah. Are they proposing more impervious than is presently the case? They think about drainage, even though it's flat, the drains, if you're on pavement everywhere, water's going to go somewhere.
Right now, their whole area is all a big gravel area. And it looks like they're gonna leave it that way because it says proposed gravel driveway and loading area. So I don't think they're planning on paving anything. Looks like they got a couple of little concrete parking areas for the trucks on each side of the tank, and that's about it.
Yeah, it makes sense for the trucks, yeah. Anybody coming up with comments for the planning board to consider?
So what's the septic area all about though?
I don't see anything for a septic on the plan.
Where do you see that, Steve?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll
Yeah.
go back to it.
Right now, they're using portable outhouses out there on that piece of property.
I think the area is high water table.
Five of 11. It's a proposed 4K area.
That is curious. You know, like Ray said, as a unmanned fuel depot, I don't know what the purpose of that would be. All right, somebody, Steve, you get the prize for identifying a comment. That's for sure.
Perhaps we should ask them.
Yeah,
Page 3.
and perhaps I should get it to Craig before.
Hey, Andy, on sheet 3 of 11.
Yeah.
You go all the way to the right under the notes. It looks like they're going to, on proposed use, it says, proposed use is a 2-bay mechanic shop and bulk fuel storage facility with additional proposed 2 30,000-gallon liquid propane storage tanks. So there's probably going to be a 2-bay mechanic shop, which will need a bathroom and a well. That's on sheet 3 of 11, note number 5.
Thanks, Naomi. Anybody, I guess,
You might want to raise some questions on this because when we have heavy rains, it puddles over there.
yeah. Yep.
Okay, so Andy, in the notes there, they are in the aquifer protection area. I'd like to suggest that they should at least show the impervious versus pervious calculation, because I believe there were some requirements in the aquifer protection area about the amount of impervious you could have.
Yeah.
I would hate to see them give the okay until we get answers back from them on this.
Usually, Lori, it's a one-way street. We, as long as I'm not totally off my game, excuse me, we share comments for consideration. And we get, you know, we ask sort of one-way questions.
So if they were to not do anything about this or encroach where they shouldn't be, we're not supposed to do anything?
I get your point.
No, I just don't know, so I'm asking for clarification.
I think our role in this, you know, we're advisory role to the planning board. If there are any state permits, we might have standing. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But at standing, all that allows you to do is submit comments for consideration. If there's no need for a wetlands, like an expedited wetlands permit, it's not as though we have any strings to pull to say, you know what, we're not going to expedite for you, so you're going to have to do a standard, which takes more time. So we're pretty well limited in the advisory role as a town commission, as a public body. And by all means, if I've got this wrong, weigh in. But the, you know, as I think about my duties as a chair, to avoid being negligent, I need to get the comments along to planning board before they consider them. And so that's what I propose doing now.
Okay,
If there is, if something raises to the level of concern that we are pretty adamant about things, then sure, I can say as a request, we request that the applicant come before the next Conservation Commission meeting to answer questions. But we can't force that issue as far as I understand our role at this point.
okay. Thank you.
And like I say, if anybody has a different take on things, I'm here to listen. Ray, do you see anything as far as comments on drainage plan or calculation or anything, Steve? The rest of you looking at this?
They don't really have any kind of drainage plan there because they're changing almost nothing, literally. And even if they wanted to do a septic over there, there's 3 other properties much closer to the wet areas that already have septic systems there. They're just raised beds. I'm not seeing any red flags. The property is not on the edge of any of this. It's in the middle of the industrial park, and it's flat. Like I say, I go there every day to get fuel, and where they want to put these tanks to me is just an obvious place where you would put them. I don't think it's going to change anything as far as the soils or any effect on the land.
Yeah. So do we have, with Naomi and Bill's help, we have a better understanding on what the purpose of the septic is, but we can certainly note that we anticipate there's a high water table down that area. We have the question, where's the boundary for the Aquifer district?
Andy, did you get a look at both attachments? Because the one of them had a map showing the 100-year flood zone and all the brook and everything else on. There was 2 sets of attachments. One had the plans and one had the application.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did, but we definitely want if the boundary crosses the site or in the notes on the site plan that the Aquifer district should be mentioned unless it doesn't impinge upon the lot at all.
No, I just didn't know if you saw the other, that's all.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, so I got a comment here. And I'm a little confused. So it looks like we've got a non-conforming use that we're making more non-conforming. And here's the language from the zoning ordinance in the aquifer protection area. Prohibited uses. This is 29.8. 29.8.3, development and operation of a petroleum bulk plant or terminal.
Yeah.
Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, it sure enough is. Yeah. No, I saw the note there on the fuel oil and the diesel storage. That's what we call a petroleum bulk plant. So I will put that question on the notes here, or the email to Craig. Is it a conforming use?
It's allowed by special exception in the commercial zone. 24.4.4 allows fuel storage and distribution centers, but you'd have to go to zoning to get a special exception.
No, Naomi, it's in the aquifer protection area though.
Right, that's where a lot of, we run into this a lot of times, Steve, and I don't know what to, because we change something in one and we don't look at what changes in another and we leave it alone. So I'm just saying it's allowed by 24.4 by special exception, and then you have to, they know it's in the aquifer, I would think, but Andy can send along a note, not a big deal.
Yeah, that's crazy to have two non-agreeing.
Oh, it happens more than you know, Steve.
I bet.
That's why when you vote on things and you affect one piece, nobody ever looks at the trickle down to the rest. So, but I think you should mention it because it does require a special exception as well as what you noted.
All right, and
On page 19 of the application, it does lay out in the notes that it's in the zoning district, industrial district located within aquifer protection zone. So they do have that as a note.
yeah, but we need those notes on the plan.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because like we're doing, most everybody will look at the plan to try to understand what's going on. And it's usually if something's to be recorded, it's usually not an application, but a plan.
Hey, so is LNG, is this LNG or propane is LNG, right?
No, different beasts.
Oh, okay. So,
Little less energy to it, and derived from a different source. So it's not, LNG is essentially methane, and propane is similar, but not the same as.
okay. So anyhow, is propane petroleum?
Derived from the distillation of petroleum, typically, yeah.
Okay, so then you have the other part of the zoning ordinance that all transfers of petroleum from delivery trucks and storage containers over 5 gallons of capacity shall be conducted over an impervious surface having a positive limiting barrier at its perimeter.
Yeah, that is in reference to liquid petroleum. So this stuff
Yeah,
at atmospheric pressure will be a gas.
yeah, okay.
So I'd give it, at least on the scientific measure, a DNA on that. Does not apply. Whether that has bearing upon how the code's written, well, I can't attest to that.
Right.
So they do label in the plans on page 3 that it's located within the aquifer protection zone.
Yeah.
Just so you know. I don't know if you knew that.
You said that was on the plan?
Yeah, page 3, note 3, zoning district, industrial district located within the aquifer protection zone.
But where's the boundary? Or is the entire thing? I'm coming back to that dotted line, which I think is a portion of the lot is located within. So I just like to I want to see that dotted line called out.
Yep.
Thanks, Michael. All right, this I think has received probably more of our attention than in many ways it probably merits. But any other comments? All right, let me let me, if I can get to the right place, I'm just gonna send this out. Thanks for bearing with me. And let's get it to the right place.
Andy, can you include me on that, please?
Yeah, I'm running the CCs now.
Thank you.
And as we're still having trouble with our group email, I'm doing individuals on the CCs. So
Andy, I'll check on that because she may have her own group attached. Where if you use conservation@where.nh.gov, I had that fixed so all of you are included. She may have her own group called Conservation. I'll just double check with her.
thank you.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's a bunch. Hopefully I got everyone. I'm sorry. I don't want to hold folks up, but sometimes it's the price of getting it done. All right, back. Where'd it go? Come on. There we go. All right. Moving on from B&B Lane. We've got a new town forest property. Naomi or Steve, do you want to comment on that?
I didn't know that we got the deal done, so love to hear about it.
Naomi, please.
Well, I mean, typically, as you know, we signed the purchase and sales. I don't know exactly, there was a little bit of snag, which is why you buy title insurance. We did get that worked out, right under the gun, really, because the purchase and sale said we had to close by March 1st.
Yeah.
So, the selectmen ended up, doing it like the Monday night just before the March 1st deadline. And we were able to close, I believe, Wednesday afternoon. Title Pro came out and we signed the documents and cut the check, and we're the proud owner of. But we did our deadline. And like I said, we have clear title. I don't know what the snag was, but it was worth the insurance.
Excellent. Excellent.
Now we're the owners.
Thank you for that update, Naomi. Good news. Any next steps on that one, Steve? Or not immediately?
No, I would say, see if we can get any more done up in there and then start talking about forest management plans. Hopefully we get back to normal. I hate doing too much business this way. It's just kind of tough, but I don't know. Hopefully everyone gets their vaccines and we get open back up again.
Yeah. Or, yeah, I got starting to get some hopes for the summer.
Yeah, we can meet outside or something if we got to, or, whatever, we'll figure something out. But yeah, let's talk about what we want to do up there, another meeting. I don't want to drag it on tonight.
Sounds good. All right. How about Poor Farm? We've got
Just one quick note on that one. We did have a closed conversation about the property that I don't know if now would be the appropriate time to open that to the public.
Yeah, you can unseal it if you guys want. It would just be unsealed and now it's public information. So you had a section of your minutes. I don't remember which meeting it was. It was probably December, maybe November, that you moved on it and you sealed it until we had purchase and sales and closed on it. So we can go back to those minutes, and then honestly, at the April one, you can move to unseal them.
Yeah, what? Michael, if you do a little homework on that for us, let's plan to do that next meeting.
Okay.
And what I'm just confirm that we've got the dates on what we did before, as well as we can refresh our memory from the conservation handbook of just what the language is for that. Pretty simple, I'm sure. Thanks for bringing it up. Sound good?
Yeah, you know, we can just throw on the record for tonight that we purchased approximately 115 acres on Toby Hill for, was it 150 it ended up being?
149.5.
Yeah, so we just get that in the minutes so that, you know, everybody from the town knows that that's what we did.
Good point, Steve.
Yeah, no reason to be secretive about that at this point. It's a done deal. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you, Naomi. And thank the Board of Selectmen too.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate them working to get it in under deadline. All right, let's move on to a little bit of a challenging nut to crack. Back to Poor Farm. My only comment on that one is we need to let Jeremy know that there's a reference to Collins in there that he needs to take out. This is on a proposed RFP. Could you talk to that, Steve?
Yeah, if I could figure out how to unmute. Yeah, so the RFP is just to go ahead and advertise to be in compliance with the town purchasing policy for 3 quotes from a licensed land surveyor to go ahead and review the Bob Todd survey and the other landowner survey and look at the deeds and try to see if there's any merit to the claim or not.
Yeah. It's a needed next step. You see that, Steve, on the paperwork there? They've got the comment. It's a contractor's responsibility in inspect the condition that Collins ledge, terrain access, etc., prior to submitting a bid.
No, but I'll fix that. I don't have it open in front of me. He had a different map in there. I had him switch around, but something must have got switched around again. No, we'll get that taken care of. So I mean, he's doing this under the hourly, and I guess Naomi's kind of our person as far as good with guidance here. So Naomi, do you want us to? I almost don't think we want to authorize an up to amount right now. I think we put it out for proposal and then kind of vote on it. We clearly have plenty of money around to deal with it, but I don't know if that's okay with the town rules, or do you want to?
Why don't you put out an RFP, see what
Yep.
you get,
Okay.
and then you guys can look at your RFPs and we'll always put you have the right to accept or reject any and all bids.
Right.
So if they're way too much, you think, then you don't have to accept any. We can try again. But you guys look at it before you figure out what you want to do, and then you authorize, award it, and where you're going to pay for it from all in one night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Got
Steve, just pass those, if you would. Pass that comment along to Jeremy, and let's, I don't know, do you think we need a motion to send him along, or just send him along his way to collect that information for us?
No, we're just doing it on the hourly. I think just send it along.
Right.
He usually reaches out to us and lets us advertise for him anyway, my office, so that's fine.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah. I don't sense that he's ever been trying to gouge us. So if there's something that we can do, excellent. It saves us a couple pennies.
Hey,
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're on Meadowscent stuff just before so I don't forget. So Mike graciously set up a Google Drive folder so that we can share documents. And then Laura French went ahead and drop the GIS data on there. And I've been talking to her, just trying to get like that GIS data that they're using stored somewhere where we can kind of see it real time, which maybe just the Google Drive or maybe somewhere else. So I think as maybe next month or the month after, kind of exploring what to do with GIS data, and maybe probably need to borrow the computer with GIS on it, and then maybe you can do a little screen sharing and kind of, you know, show what they have and kind of look at. So GIS, the one thing to understand about it, and I think it's going to be a lot easier if I screen share it with everybody, is that it's more than just a map. It's really a database, and it's got a bunch of attributes. It kind of looks like a spreadsheet that are embedded and associated with a coordinate. And so I think we need to start thinking more about consistency with our GIS data and how we store it and how we ask for it, you know, from different vendors. So just something that kind of like to move along with, but there's no real cost associated yet, but just for a future meeting.
Thank you, Steve. That's a good point. Just looking through our email since last meeting. We have an email from Tom Carr to Steve Walker on some monitoring of the Kingsbury parcel. So good to have former Commission Chair Tom Carr still helping out with that one. Looking for anything else. We got Poor Farm covered. I think that does it. Anybody have anything else for tonight?
Hey, Andy, this is that meeting every year that we need to elect officers, and we also are supposed to review the bylaws. I don't think we need to change anything.
I thought we usually do that in April. I know first conservation meeting after town meeting, and this one we happened to catch it right in March.
Yeah, we did. We caught it. Yeah.
Andy, I would just add to what Steve was, you're correct. Right after town meeting, we always ask everybody to re-up. So my office has sent out to everybody on every committee that's up this year. I believe the conservation has 4. Mike, Lori, Bill, and Sherry. She sent applications and ethics forms to be signed, and then the selectmen would reappoint. And then typically we always reappoint after the change of the town meeting. And then I think Andy's correct. Then the next time is when everybody does their changes of your officers, because some people may not want to get back on. So that's why we always waited and did it 61 word statement.
This is a statement that we've been waiting for 2 days.
So that's where we are.
Thank you. And
So I just need to hear from, I know Mike sent his in. Bill's interested. I haven't heard from Sherry or Lori yet. So I need to get those back for Monday night. The board's gonna try to do it in one swoop so that everybody can move on for their next month.
Naomi, you'll be getting mine. Ellen has to figure out how to send it to you.
Very good. Thank you, Lori, for doing that.
We'll just need it, make sure I get it before Monday evening's meeting, please.
Okay.
And I suspect that that Sherry might be involved Monday evening, so hopefully she can sort that one out. And before jumping back to what Steve brought up, no, afterwards. Let me finish off with that, Steve, you comfortable holding that until April?
I'm not sure what our bylaws say. It's up to you, I guess, you know.
I think the bylaws might say April or something to that effect. But with everybody expressing interest, everybody who's here tonight expressing interest or getting the form in for re-upping, I'd be okay with, if you want to make a nomination or move the existing slate as we've done for years now. Or we can pause and say, does anybody on the meeting tonight want to do something they haven't done or nominate him or herself for an open position like secretary? It's a little bit too early in the season, but I can almost hear the crickets. All right, Steve, you want to roll the ball?
Yeah, I was actually trying to check the bylaws. So want to check them real quick or just run with it?
Or you can make a motion that we will vote on the slate at the next meeting, so that gives you time to check the bylaws. If you make a motion to do that, you're cleared to do that.
All right, well,
Hang on, I got it right here.
yeah,
Okay.
we can race to the bylaws. They're here. That's what I did. Testing my memory.
Yeah. So. First
And
meeting following the close of town meeting.
So that'd be tonight.
Yeah. So, I mean, if no one else is interested, I'm just gonna, I guess, move, keep the same officers, and I guess the secretary would be vacant.
Second,
all right. I will accept the nomination, or renomination. I believe the gig is still worth doing, and I really appreciate what everybody brings to the table. I would be glad to fill out and have our secretary, but without twisting too hard, Michael, we talked about this last year. Would you care to jump into the fray, or are you good where you're at?
What would be my responsibilities?
Well, you know, we've got numbers now, so if Steve and I were absent and everybody else were present, you could run the meeting.
He's
That
not telling you the big one. You have to get the minutes in within what, 5 days, right, Naomi? The draft minutes.
It's 144, yeah, 144 hours.
Yeah.
working
Otherwise, they come
hours.
for you.
144 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Andy. I can do that. I'll give it a try here.
Great. That the short of it is, at this point, we're not regularly asking anything of the secretary, but we can look at the bylaws, and that's one thing that we're supposed to do as part of our annual meeting. But the other thing about bylaws is if we find something anytime in those that we feel we need to change, we can change bylaws at any meeting. So, you know, have a look in there. If there's something that, you know, feels a little bit like it needs revising, if you look at that as secretary every year, that would be a great thing to do.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to modify my motion then, I guess, based on the discussion. So I'm going to move that Mike is secretary, I'm the vice chair, and Andy's the chair for the next year between now and 2022.
Second,
All right. Any further discussion? This being a Zoom meeting, I will call the roll, and if you are in agreement, please indicate so by saying aye. Michael,
Aye.
Andy is an aye. Ray,
Aye.
Steve,
All right,
Bill,
I,
Lori,
aye.
and the ayes have it. Thank you, and may we keep it worthwhile. And towards that end, I don't want to take much more of anybody's time tonight, but just I'd be remiss if I didn't note that we actually upped our level of support, our degree of support on our foresters allowance to 75% of the vote. So that's, I think, a new record for us. And we're still at about 67 or 2/3 on our land work. So I think that's fantastic. And I don't ever want to take that for granted. So let's do things right. And when there's things we need to fix up, let's voice it in a responsible, respectful way, and let's correct things if we are needing correction. So thank you, everybody, for that. And that is a real positive outcome and a real decent level of support.
Going forward, Andy, if you or Steve or anybody on the committee can tell me how the rules work or the RSAs, as I said before, there's a group that's looking that when we log to take that money and put it into the general fund, all of it, and not give it to us. And I don't know how that works, but it's something we need to be able to understand and explain, because it's going to
All right.
come up in the future.
Thanks for the heads up. I'm very comfortable with where we sit with that. So we will field the serve, if you will, when it is served our direction. And I don't think we have anything to
Good.
anything to be terribly concerned about, but absolutely. Thank you for the heads up on it.
You're welcome.
Anything else from the commission tonight?
Motion to adjourn?
Hey.
All right. Do we have a second?
hang on 1 second. Hey, Lori, I just want to tell you, if there's someone that voices that opinion, you have them give me a call, if they really want to talk about it, because I can explain to them, pretty succinctly the benefits and really the long-term tax stabilization and reduction of having that money in forest, and that it's there's a good business case for it. So if there's anybody that's thinking the business case of rating that money is somehow better, believe me, I'd love to talk to them.
Okay, because 2 of them are state reps and 3 of them, I guess they're defined as libertarians, and they are definitely itching to get a hold of that money. And I don't have an answer to it. I don't know enough about how the finances work.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good forestry background, so have them give me a call and I can sure talk it over with them. I'm not going to steer them on how to raid the money, but just why they might want to think twice before even wasting their time.
Okay, thank you.
And ultimately, I strongly believe that that's what that would be at this point. So let's do things right, folks. And one of them, like as Lori has done, is make the commission aware of issues that we should be concerned about and prepared for. All right, I heard a motion.
We need a second.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion to adjourn made by Lori, seconded by Ray. And this one I'm going to go by voice. All in favor at 8:29, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Excellent. Good night, all. Thank you.
Night. Thank you.